Good morning and welcome back to Other Worlds Wednesday on Gaming with ADHD. Today we're going to take a look at everyone's favorite Shadowrun NPC, Mr. Johnson. Well, we're going to take a look at an assortment of Mr. Johnsons that are available to give your runners the next job. Now, this was released in 2021, and the Johnson Dex builds on the style of the Rogues Gallery to present specialized NPCs with some extra features to make them useful and customizable. Now, before we jump into the review, do make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I cover all sorts of tabletop gaming content, and since Shadowrun is one of my favorites, I'm always looking for more content that I can share, and I'd love for you to come along. So, let's get into this. This is the Johnson Dex. It is not a whole lot of details on the back, but it is a collection of 20 cards that detail different Mr. Johnsons for your game of Shadowrun. Now, there are 20 different NPCs that they include, and then one card for the rules. So it's double-sided, and the first side talks about the gear level. Gear level is an attribute that they apply on these characters for basically some variable options. And then they also have different favors that your Shadowrunners can earn by doing jobs for the particular Mr. Johnson. So, we will get into all of those details here in a little bit, but let's take a quick look at the cards that we've got. So, we've got Hera Legs Anderson, the female dwarf, Dulma Snowblinder Baranov, a female troll, Alana Bright, a female elf, Tamira Handbrake Dixon, female human, Krish Dougal, male human, Feathers, female elf, Yuji Topknot Harada, male dwarf, Fu Jian Zhao, female human, Mina Miami Juarez, female elf, Vin Blank Kennedy, a male dwarf. Now, this also says that he's a gnome. So, I have not seen these in Shadowrun Sixth World yet. So, kind of interesting that they are expanding that. I believe they're supposed to come in the player options book, but I'm not sure when that's supposed to release. Taser Louisa, female orc. Crispin Dr. Chris McSweeney, a male troll. John Devilfish Moore, a male dwarf. James Barge Obi, a male troll. Katinka Cathedral Orlov, female elf. Melosi Big Mouth Smith, male troll. Kaide Tickface Takahashi, male human ghoul. Again, another race that hasn't been seen yet. Laura Doomwheel Torres, a female orc. And Angela Cassowary Williams, a female human. So, all in all, we end up with 11 females, 8 males. We also get 5 humans, one of which is a ghoul, 4 dwarves, one of which is a gnome, 4 elves, 4 trolls, and 2 orcs. Now, on each card, and I know I didn't show this in detail while I was going through, I just wanted to kind of show off the art and the names. Each character is going to have a complete background. Well, I call it a complete background. Obviously, they could do more, but it's 3 paragraphs worth of content. I think that's pretty good for an NPC. So we get 3 paragraphs worth of content for this NPC, who they are, why they're Mr. Johnson, why they're doing what they're doing. Okay? On the back, we then get all of their stats. So just the regular attributes, any relevant skills to the character, the gear level that I was talking about, and anything else that's important. Okay. They also then list the favors that are available and the 2 plot hooks that quote unquote, come standard for the particular Mr. Johnson. Now, the gear level is used to determine, like I said, unspecified information. So in this case, Hera's got a gear level of 5. So if she was going to have a weapon that wasn't listed on the card, it would be equal to the gear level times 150 new yen. If she wanted a piece of armor, the damage reduction would be equal to the gear level. They can have a sin rating and also a false sin rating. If they need a piece of electronics, the gear level equals the rating. And if they need a vehicle, so a car, truck, whatever, it's equal to the gear level times 20,000 new yen. So obviously, this isn't supposed to include any of the equipment that's already listed on the card, but basically it lets you kind of customize it a little bit. You want to put them in a fancy sports car, here's kind of the budget that they're going to have. They want to have that, that slick piece of firearms. Well, here's the budget that you can use for that particular character. For the characters in this set, they do range from gear level 4 up to gear level 7, so there is a bit of variety. Now, the favors. Favors come in 4 different types. First off, it lets you open a door. Now, the favors are cashed in based on karma that the players earn with Mr. Johnson. And depending on how much karma you want to spend depends on what kind of a favor you're going to get. So, in this case, for opening a door, Hera can introduce you to, people of Denver. And for 5 karma, you can get a community leader. So, a mayor, an activist, maybe not necessarily a mayor, but like the mayor's aide, something along those lines. For 5 karma. For 10 karma, you could get introduced to a gang leader. As this character works for Mitsuhama Computer Technologies, for 15 karma, you could get to an engineer, and for 20 karma, you could get to an executive. So, lots of options. Depends on how much your characters have done and how much they're willing to spend. Now, one thing with this is, if, say, your players haven't earned enough karma, for an additional 1,000 new yen per karma that they're short, you can buy up to the next level. So say you have that 15 karma to get the MCT engineer. Well, if you paid an extra 5,000 new yen, you could get to the executive. All right. Now, the next option is for an advance. Your runners are low on cash. They need to be able to do something. They can basically take out a loan from Mr. Johnson for 10 in this case 10 karma per 1,000 new yen. If they need inside intel, basically information to Mr. Johnson's organization, depending on how much karma they spend. So Denver happenings for 5 karma, or MCT happenings for 10 karma. And then the other option is, say Mr. Johnson doesn't have an adventure, or you want to push the characters to a different location. Well, Mr. Johnson can, put their names in front of somebody else for, in this case, 30 karma. And it all depends on which of the NPCs that you're using. So there is variety amongst the characters. Like, just as a comparison, we'll show Dolma Snowblinder. So for 1,000 new yen, only needs 5 karma. Reference is still 30 karma. But so to get executive dealings on her inside intel, it costs 40 karma. Okay, so there is variety amongst all of the NPCs. Now, the other important thing, like I mentioned, is the 2 plot hooks. Basically a way that you can drop the NPC in and also give the players something to do right away. So you don't have to come up with your own storyline. You can easily drop it in for, short night. Maybe not everybody showed up for the game, or you've got some new players, want to try something different. Here's an easy story that you can riff off of. All right, so what do I like about this set? First off, I really like the expanded backgrounds. You do get to feel that the characters are more defined than the Rogues Gallery character. Rogues Gallery gave you maybe a sentence or two, if that, maybe even just a quote. And so this gives you a lot more information about why Mr. Johnson is doing what they're doing. Okay. The other thing I like is those plot hooks. Like I said, easy way to drop the characters in and just get them started. The other thing I like is that gear level. The opportunity to customize these characters. Obviously you can write in whatever you want, but at least having some sort of a guideline. I realize that these are role-playing games and we can pretty much do whatever we want. But for me, especially with the ADHD, being given at least like a target and a direction to go in. Okay, here's my budget. Here's the points that I can spend. Gives me a lot more flexibility, because I already know what I'm looking for, and I'm not having to then try to narrow down that focus. So I really like the gear level option. Now, I always point out some things that I want to point out, but are I don't necessarily like or dislike. There's obviously good and bad in this part. I call it my neutrals, and the neutral on this one is going to be the art. The art to me is a lot more cartoonish than we've seen in other Sixth World products. So it's not bad, but it's not necessarily as polished. Okay, this one's pretty good. I like this one. Has a very Billy D. Williams kind of feel to it. So I'm not wowed by the art, but I do like that they did make sure to give every character, at least a portrait. Okay, I mean, obviously for this kind of a product, that is the absolute minimum that needs to be included. Now, that's really the only thing I have in the neutrals. So what do I not like about this product? To be honest with you, overall, it's fine, except I think it's a little small. There's 20 cards, one of which is the instructions. Okay, so 20 total cards, meaning 19 Mr. Johnsons. For a product like this, I realize that the cost for the art, the cost for the writing, is obviously going to drive these up. But I would like to see either about another 5 to 10 cards in a product like this. I believe Rogues Gallery had 60 cards. So the fact that these are larger than standard playing cards, I think doing at least half of that would be reasonable. So other than that, I basically just think it's a little small for the product that it is. All right. So in conclusion, I like the product, but I'm not entirely sure that I would want this over the Rogues Gallery. The Rogues Gallery has lots of different options that you can use for Mr. Johnson. It just doesn't have the gear level, and it doesn't have the background, and it doesn't have the plot hooks. It has all of the stats. It has basic gear, and it has basic skills, which in most cases, to me, is really all you would need for Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson's supposed to be this faceless guy. He's not supposed to be somebody that you want to become friends with. So while I like having the backgrounds for these characters, I'm kind of hit and miss on it. Okay, if I had to choose one, honestly, I would choose the Rogues Gallery over the Johnson Dex. Personally, I think the Rogues Gallery is a lot more useful, being able to be used for generic NPCs, for Mr. Johnson, and as I said in my review, being able to use it just as player characters for one-shots, I think makes it a lot more useful, especially having the larger variety of characters than the Johnson Dex does. Now, I am not saying don't go out and buy this set, okay? If you find a deal, if you like to be a completionist, or if you just want to give your friendly local gaming store some new yen, absolutely pick it up. It's got the same level of production quality as the other Shadowrun products, so I don't feel like it's a waste of money. But overall, while it's a good product, it's not mandatory to add to your collection. So there you go. Obviously not the greatest opinion on this one, but let me know what you think in the comments. What did I get wrong? Why do you disagree with me? I'd love to hear from you, and I do try to respond to all the comments. So let me know what you think, and if you like the video, please do give it a thumbs up. It does help it in the YouTube algorithm. Don't forget, I will have a link down below to DriveThruRPG if you do like using them for your PDF products. It does give me a little bit of a kickback to use for picking up more products to review. And with that said, thank you for your time. I appreciate you listening, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.